One of the biggest complaints that I get from women is, why will my man not do his work? How can I get him to do it, to change, to transform? Why won't he commit to me? Why won't he choose me? And they're so frustrated. Today, I want to talk about why men are having a hard time fully committing. Both feed in long-term partnership. Imagine you walked into a candy shop and you were presented with walls and walls of the most epic candy ever created. And somebody walked up to you as you walked in the door and said, "Sir, you can only have one of these and taste one of these for the rest of your life." Can you imagine how difficult it would be to choose what candy to take, knowing that you wouldn't be able to taste any of the other ones? Probably be hard to choose. It would probably take you a while to pick. This is no different than men's struggle and relating, being in long-term relationship. We are in a very unique time of our evolution and our history as in humanity. There is so much presented. We now have dating apps where you can just swipe and select and choose based off of visual appearance, whatever woman you want. Also, very likely that in that same evening, she'll sleep with you. There is an abundance of stimulation visually plastered online and social media and easily accessible pornography and all different kinds and ways you could, probably ways that you can't even think up. Somebody's done it. And this has distracted men in a really big way. This is one reason why men have a hard time committing. There's so much to choose from. Inside, we are programmed on a primal level to see and be attracted to visually and the opposite sex to procreate. What our brain hasn't had time to process is the selection is in our face all the time now. Every time we pick up our phone and we look, there are women expressing their beautiful essence in their bodies in all these artistic, creative ways, which is incredible, but it's also confusing for men because it gives them a lot to choose from and to kind of hit that primal part of like, well, maybe I want that. And if men weren't brought through their necessary stages of initiation, they will have an even harder time because inside the parts that have discernment, that have more clarity on what qualities to be in long-term relationship with, those parts are usually lacking. Most men that end up showing up in my 6-month containers where we work one-to-one, consistently to rewire some of these places. So often, these men, what they were lacking is what they come to me for. A male role model, someone who's devoted their life to becoming a man. Masculine energy in its very root is the energy of becoming. Little boys needed their fathers to be a man, needed to be taking responsibility for all their adult needs and the protection and the needs of the home and their partner. And if they didn't have that provided for them, they had a hard time to offer it. And then what that leads to is a man who is often a father who is absent emotionally and physically. And that little boy then learns the same perpetuation of what his father learned, and that is there's no men to guide him into becoming a man. If this feels like you, let me feel you, my friend, in the comments. Just typing in, "Oh, that's me." Yep. Something to let me know that there's a resonance here, because that was me all these years ago. I wanted to show up in a relationship. I wanted to show up in partnership, but I had a hard time staying. Like when I first started dating really beautiful women and amazing women who really loved me, it was probably about a month or two of my capacity until I would freak out and end the relationship. I would want it to end on a good note. So I would give them everything that I had. I would sexually satisfy them, get them into this place where they wanted to marry me really quickly, and then I'd bolt because it freaked me out. Because somewhere deep down, I knew I actually didn't have what it took to offer them what they were looking for. because I wasn't shown. It wasn't something I was modeled, I was taught, I wasn't initiated. My ways of growing up as a little boy was just finding ways to self-soothe the level of distress I felt from not feeling emotionally met, not knowing how to be held in life's difficult experiences. I felt so alone and isolated. That got me into pornography. My friend, listen to this. I started using pornography when I was 7. 7. And I used it to soothe, to feel better, to try to feel some sort of connection. And I didn't have any parent figure to know or even notice anything like that was happening and model me into higher levels of health. I wasn't taught boundaries. I wasn't taught how to treat women. I wasn't taught any of these things. So relationships scared the shit out of me. That's why I sucked at it. I would attract these incredible women, gorgeous, loving, kind, and I would mess it all up because deep down I was a little boy trying to be a man. So, one of the important things to understand is, and if you're listening to this, my friend, there's no shame in this. A lot of men are having a hard time committing because they didn't have a role model. They didn't have a man help them evolve into being a man, the ingredients that would make up a man. And so, when now being in an adult body, attracting these empowered feminine, because now, just like that abundance of option and choice, we're now in an abundance of information about relationship, about dynamics, about masculinity and femininity and tantra and all these things. So women are awakening into, wait a minute, I want a man. And then they are very easy to point out all the places you are or are not showing up as a man. And that isn't very encouraging. If you have a bunch of women, and this is happening on a big scale, where a lot of women are expressing their feelings about how they've felt so unmet, and they are shaming men, putting them down, that information is being let in and received and internalized as something must be wrong with you if you can't show up in this way. Like with so many of the men that I end up working with, they are in what's called the swing. They have seen the impact of the patriarch. They have seen the impact of their fathers not being emotionally present, not providing emotional safety for their mothers. And they have deep down inside of themselves made a commitment that will not be like their father and they will be a kind man. Now, the trickiness is if they weren't modeled through the stages of initiation, what this will end up looking like is a swing into being more of a feminized masculine, which is fawning and overtaking responsibility for what's happening for the female in her experience, and actually implanting internalized shame of like, wow, like something must be wrong with me. I can't show up here. It's never good enough. Is that you? Let me know in the comments. Have you been in that experience where you think to yourself, there's nothing I can do right here. I can't seem to show up and offer this woman what she's actually looking for, and feeling so frustrated by that? Well, that again is a sign of what was missing from your father, from the men around you. You may be now being an adult male, not having true brotherhood to help you through this process. So important to understand that nothing is wrong with you. You are not bad. Culture has made it difficult for you to experience enough space, and men need this. This is why I work with men one-to-one, is I create this in our 6-month container. Men need enough space to start to feel the vulnerability of their experience and to find the natural impulse to want to share about it, to want to then process what happened when they were a kid. But that doesn't happen if there's a lot of pressure to be something more, or if there's a lot of shame and criticism and judgment of how you're not showing up. That's not encouraging to provide more, is it? I've been in that place where a woman is telling me and pointing out all the things where I'm making mistakes and missteps and not provide. And it's like, are you kidding me? No part of me now wants to make love with you, wants to provide anything more. I feel so beaten up and hurt. Fuck you. Have you been there? Oh, and so another reason why it's hard for men to really step up and fully commit is they're attracting too much criticism and shame and pressure from society, but it may be their partner also. And what's really needed here is space and compassion and patience from others. And what's tricky is a lot of men will attract the ingredients that they experience growing up and or the ingredients that they're wanting that they didn't get growing up, but they don't have the tools of how to be in relationship with it. Like there's a lot of incredible men that maybe didn't get a lot of love and affection and care growing up, but then attract a woman who wants to give them all of that, but it's so overwhelming and they don't know actually how to let it in, that it ends up being inundating and stressful and frightening. And then it can create this like, crunchiness of wanting to attack and push, defend and deflect with the woman. And then that doesn't work. It doesn't feel good. And so we've got the times that we're in as a reason why it's hard to commit. There's lots of choice. We've got pressure from society. There's shaming and criticizing and judgment happening from society and from partners. And it's not that compassionate environment to want to open up, to want to evolve and grow. I've watched it time and time again. When a man, like in my one-to-one work, when a man is given that space and given an experience where they actually feel met and seen, that natural healthy mechanism inside that we all have as men starts to actually take up more space, and the initiation process starts to happen, and the man finds his authentic organic power of wanting to learn more, wanting to become more. Because again, remember, masculine energy is the energy of becoming. No one can take that out of us. It's in our DNA. But we need mentorship. We need modeling. This is the solution. This is what is needed. And men are hungry for it. They're thirsty for it. And most men don't even know that they need it. That's why most men stay stuck. They don't even have the conscious awareness of shit, I need help. I need someone to teach me these things. I need an experience that I didn't have with my father, with another man, so that I can feel safe enough to move from my head down into my heart. Okay, so what do we do about this? Well, men, if you're watching this and you're one of these men and all these light bulbs are starting to go off and you're like, shit, I didn't get that from my father. Now you need to replace that role of father with mentorship. Now, this can happen in many ways. I am a men's coach. This is my specialty. If you want that direct support one-to-one, scroll down into the description. At the bottom of that, you'll see an application for my one-to-one. You can shoot me an email. We can have a conversation about it. That's one way. Or you can find another man who you feel safe with, that you feel a resonance with. When they speak, you're like, oh, I just feel safe with this man. There's something about this man that inspires me. Follow that impulse, follow your intuition, and move towards that. There is no more powerful way to expedite this process of transformation and evolution than relationship with another man who's living it and breathing it and has been held through that process himself. So that's one way. The other way, and first I want to name to orient the understanding of how a man works. A man needs to understand logically why he would want to grow and evolve and change and provide emotional safety for the feminine. Needs to understand how things work. This is just how we are. This is why there's so many sticky places in relationship with women around them not feeling met or seen or heard. It's because men are logical and a woman shares her feelings and emotions. He'll often meet it with trying to point out where the facts aren't straight and point out all the details and meet it logically and want to fix it and solve it. And then the woman is pissed, closes off, attacks, retaliates, shuts down, and then it leads to more disconnection. So understanding that's how a man's brain works, we want to leverage that in a way that's helpful. Going back to mentorship, men, we need to devote a certain amount of our time and our energy to learning from men who are embodying the thing we want to become. Men who have matured, who have grown, who have evolved, men who have devoted their lives to understanding relational dynamics and polarity. We need to learn from those men. One of the ways that I first started learning about this was from a man called David Data. I highly encourage, if you haven't read this book, this will be so valuable to your experience as a man. It's called The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. This book I've read a few times, and it's, I'd say, hands down, one of the most helpful resources that I've experienced in the last 15 years of being a man. It gives the foundation. It gives, if you want to build a house that's going to last an eternity, the foundation needs to be solid. This is one of the ingredients. This is one of the bricks that makes up a really solid foundation. I highly encourage it. Get it on Audible, get the printed version, the book version. And keep taking in information like this. If you're enjoying this content that I'm sharing and you feel some sort of resonance, go hit the like button on this video, subscribe to it, hit the bell so you don't miss the future videos, and start to learn these ingredients, what it actually requires to be a man, how to meet the feminine. We want to learn these qualities because, my friend, when you as a man have more clarity in the direction that you're going, you will authentically feel more confident and empowered and fulfilled in doing the work. It won't be so frightening. It won't be so defeating. You will have enough self-agency to learn for yourself the ingredients that are going to make a really sustainable long-term relationship. That I can almost guarantee you will bring you into a place where you can put both feet in and devote and commit and claim your partner, because you will feel excited about what you're learning, what you are becoming. You don't want it all coming from your partner. You want to lead yourself, self-leadership. You want to lead yourself. That's one of the ingredients of being a mature man, is self-leadership, radical self-responsibility. Learning these subjects and these topics for yourself so that you can be the one to actually bring some of these to the relationship. That's going to balance out the relationship in a way where your partner will soften into the safety of, oh shit, he is learning, he is changing, he does want to grow and learn and become more. That's attractive. That's what she's looking for. And then all those crunchy, crusty places, the edges of them most likely will soften, because that's what she's actually looking for. She's looking for you to be in the day-to-day practice and the action of becoming the man you were born to be. She just may not have the most evolved way of saying that. If you got value from this, please, again, like this, subscribe, hit the bell. Let me know what came up for you in the comments. And if you are looking for support, just scroll down, click that application, and we can hop on a call. See you in the next video.